Yesterday while I was making lunch I heard a really loud sound, as if the ceiling was falling or a bookshelf had fallen. My husband and daughter were out, the only other person in the house was my son. I was pretty sure he was in his room, which is at the opposite side of the house from the kitchen, so while making my way there I checked every room and everything seemed in order. I knocked on my son's door and called his name, no answer. I must have knocked/called 3 times before trying to open the door, which was locked. At this point I was getting really freaked out, thinking that maybe he tipped his wardrobe or bookshelf and it had fallen over him and he was passed out on the floor. I was basically screaming his name, no answer. I have no idea how I did it. I just threw myself the door and it broke. Now, clearly the door was already weak, I'm thinking termite, but, yeah, it broke. My son was fine. He was freaked out about the door but fine. The sound was his TV with the volume at the max, apparently. And he didn't answer me calling because he didn't want me bothering his movie. His words were, "You were screaming like a harpy and it was annoying, I was trying to watch the movie. Fix the door." I said no. I wasn't going to fix it since to fix it I would have to buy a new door and doors are expensive. And as soon as his dad got home he would remove the door entirely as it was too broken to just stay there. He got really mad. Said it's his right to have a door, he deserves his privacy. I said he had a door and while I was the one that broke it and it was a consequence of his actions, so if he wanted a door he would have to buy it. I know he doesn't have the money for it right now. Until then, no door. He can change in the bathroom. He said fuck you. I said he was grounded, AITA about the door. My husband is fine with it, says only I know how scared I was, so only I can know the appropriate punishment. I'm now terrified that if anything happens where we really need to reach my son, we won't be able to. But I have calmed down since and I'm wondering if maybe I'm the asshole. I have 2 children. My daughter is my biological child. She's 24. My son is her older half-brother and he's 29. Their mother, and I hate to call her that, was a hookup. We slept together twice and my daughter was the result. I never knew about her until she was 5 and her brother was 10 and they were removed from their mother's care. She did not take care of them and their school became concerned because my son was raising my daughter essentially. She told them I was my daughter's father and that I was not to know about her. But they wanted to try and place the kids with family first. My son had no family. His biological father and his biological father's family are all criminals and in and out of jail, or in the father's case, serving a very lengthy sentence. So I told the social worker I would adopt him and raise them together. It took some time. Even though it would keep the kids together, I was not a foster parent before this, so they were extremely reluctant to place my son with me. Ultimately, both kids suffered not being together and I was thankfully able to keep my kids together. My son calls me my name or dad. It's interchangeable really. He only met me when he was 10 and I was a stranger at first. So it took time for us to become a true father and son, even after I adopted him. I never felt like him calling me dad was a must. I know he loves me. I know I am his dad, to him, and to me. But our family is not typical and trauma and time play a part in our relationship. We adore each other and he tells me everything, so I consider that a win. But my son's future are bothered by the fact he uses my name so often. It apparently became a problem when they heard him rehearse a speech with his fiancée where he was using my name and dad for me. They complained to their daughter, who told them to leave it, but then they decided to give him a hard time and later they decided I should nip this in the bud and that I need to speak to my son and make him show the proper respect and decorum by dropping my name entirely from the speech and his vocabulary during the wedding entirely. I asked them why. They said it looks disrespectful and shameful. I told them I felt it was neither of those things. They asked how I could raise the boy and not find it incredibly insulting that he calls me by my name. At one point they questioned whether I truly loved him and saw him as my son, which pissed me off enough for me to tell them what he calls me is none of their concern and to keep their noses out of my family relationships. They were insulted that I said this to them and they are making a bigger fuss than before. My future Dale told them they were sticking their noses into stuff that was not their business. But I feel like I made things worse, and they are saying I am a disrespectful asshole. Am I in the bad here? My brother and his wife have been trying to get pregnant, but unfortunately she's had 6 miscarriages. That sucks, I know, I'm not discounting that at all. That being said, she's a center of attention kind of person. She will shit talk other people all day long and try to make herself look like the best person in the room. If anyone else gets attention, she tries to take it away from them, usually by putting them down verbally, or by getting another dog or cat. Most of the animals she has were obtained right after other people she knew got pregnant. Well, wife and I got pregnant, discussed at length with how we should approach this. Keeping my sister-in-law in mind was the main topic of conversation. We didn't want to upset her, but we also didn't feel like it was right to let her dictate our actions and make it impossible to celebrate the life that we're creating. So we made t-shirts, announcing the pregnancy. Not gloating it, just announcing it. Christmas time, we come over to my mom's place, do present exchange, then change shirts. My mother was very happy, but I could see the look on my sister-in-law's face, upset. She didn't say anything and just shut herself in the bathroom, then left early later on in the day. Next day she sends this message to my wife. To say I'm disappointed is an understatement. We have had conversations about how hard infertility is during the holidays, and how hard/debilitating it is. Bro, and I have lost 6 babies. 6. We have 6 dead children, wife. Springing you're pregnant on, bro, and I like that was uncalled for and completely ruined not only mine, but, bro, Christmas. You could have sent me a heads-up text about this, so we had time to process this. And if your excuse is, oh, I didn't want it to ruin the surprise for mom, you're wrong. It's a completely invalid fear. Because I would never ruin a surprise like that. Not only that, but you also saw how that affected me, and you wouldn't stop talking about it. You're excited, sure. But read the room, wife. I can't tell you how much that damaged our relationship, and honestly, I don't know how many holidays I'm going to be there for now because of what you did. What you did was completely selfish and careless. It showed me you really don't care about me. And honestly, had we gotten a heads-up text, I'd be happy for you. But right now, I'm not. You both ruined Christmas for us. Ick, why you thought that was such a good idea. You also had an entire hour to do it before we got there. I had to leave early because I couldn't stand being there for another minute in a house that I didn't feel loved in. The only time we talked about it was when my family was asking questions, due date, gender, etc. It's not like we were talking about it throughout the day. Am I the asshole, are we the assholes, for having decided to do the pregnancy announcement anyways?